Imagine waking up one morning to find that the entire concept of a 9-to-5 job is crumbling before your eyes. And no, this isn't the plot of some dystopian novel or a bizarre thought experiment. It's actually the harsh reality that millions of people around the world are grappling with as we speak.
But the new wave may be more about directing or allocating resources toward a new generative AI computing shift. And it could also be the beginnings of a massive labor shift enabled by AI itself.
With each passing day, the traditional 9-to-5 job model that has been the backbone of our society for generations is being torn asunder by the relentless forces of technological advancement, economic upheaval, and a fundamental shift in the way we perceive the nature of work itself. The numbers are clear and kind of shocking. In 2023, layoffs in the tech world were 59% higher than the year before, and this trend has kept on going into 2024 with no signs of slowing down. In fact, Amazon, Meta, and Google have laid off over 60,000 workers combined, according to Statista. This wave of layoffs is happening not just in America, but worldwide. But what exactly is causing this unsettling trend? To be honest, a few factors are at play. Fast progress in artificial intelligence and automation tech threatens to replace human workers, while money pressures and the hunt for efficiency push companies to rethink if they really need all these workers. This has led to rearranging priorities, with businesses choosing to cut jobs to simplify their operations and protect their future success. Again, with all of this chaos, an important question arises. Is the typical 9-to-5 job model falling apart because it just doesn't work in today's economy anymore? The evidence suggests we might be seeing a fundamental shift in the nature of work. As companies get used to new tech and economic realities, the stability and predictability that 9-to-5 jobs used to offer seem harder and harder to come by. This changing job market challenges both young and old to rethink their career paths and adjust to a new normal. Flexibility, ability to adjust, and continuous learning appear to be the keys to navigating this uncertain future. As we look closer to why the 9-to-5 model is collapsing, it's clear the changes we're seeing are not just temporary shakeups, but maybe the start of a whole new era in jobs. But has it always been this way? What I mean is, have people always been doing 9-to-5 jobs right from the beginning of time? Well, let's take a quick look at history. The origins of the 9-to-5 schedule show that the structure wasn't always the norm. The roots can actually be traced back to the 1920s, when Henry Ford revolutionized work by adopting an 8-hour day and a 5-day week at the Ford Motor Company. This move wasn't just about helping employees, though. It was a strategic play to give workers more free time, hoping they'd spend that time and money on Ford's cars. Ford's big change was part of a broader trend towards shorter work weeks that started years before in the mid-1800s. Back then, 70-plus hour work weeks were common for many employees. The push for fewer hours gained momentum through labor actions, advocacy, and political compromises, leading to what we see now as the standard 40-hour work week. This history reflected a trade-off: time and effort at work in exchange for a steady paycheck and career path, setting up the employment deal that we see today. However, the thinking behind the 9-to-5 schedule to maximize productivity in a set time frame has become mismatched with the realities of modern work. With its 24/7 connectivity, the digital age has muddied the lines between work and personal life, challenging the idea that productivity only happens during certain hours at the office. The efficiency of the 9-to-5 model in corporate jobs today is debated heatedly. Studies have shown long hours in a traditional office can actually reduce productivity and increase burnout. One particular study, published in 2019 by Wong et al., reveals how working long hours causes cardiovascular issues, from fatigue to stress to anxiety and other negative health behaviors. On the other hand, flexible schedules and remote work options allow people to work when they're most productive, leading to higher satisfactions and better outcomes. A survey of over 5,000 workers by Airtasker found that remote employees saved more time and money than office workers, earning around 408 free hours per year and over $4,500 on commuting fuel. Beyond this, the rigid 9-to-5 often clashes with the global nature of business now. Companies operate across time zones, requiring flexibility for collaboration across regions that a fixed model can't provide. Also, automation and AI have shifted work towards more creative tasks that don't always fit the traditional workday. One major drawback of the 9-to-5 is unpaid overtime. As companies try to do more with less, employees often work extra hours without more pay. This not only hurts their life balance, but also makes the sustainability of 9-to-5 questionable. Experts argue the mismatch between 9-to-5 and work today is obvious. For instance, Ken Matos, VP of Research at Life Meets Work, points out that 9-to-5 is incompatible with a world driven by digital connection, flexible work, and the need for better productivity. He actually suggests moving past the 9 to 5 could be pivotal, allowing work life to better match society and tech. In his words, people today really value workplace flexibility and remote work because it allows them to focus their energies on work and life as opposed to commuting. Seeing the benefits of remote work, there is a rise in short-term gigs replacing traditional long-term jobs. Based on Gallup's criteria of pay stability and predictability, it's found that only 40% of working Americans have a stable full-time job with benefits. Instead, many piece together side hustles and temporary work. Studies estimate that between 16 and 36% of US workers are now independent contractors or freelancers, with some predicting 60% by 2030. Now, we cannot but ask what precisely is driving this shift. New tech platforms like Uber and Upwork let anyone easily find quick work opportunities. I can tap an app and get paid to drive someone across town, walk a dog, or design a company's website, all in the same week, all on my schedule. This flexibility and accessibility are big pluses for those wanting better work-life balance, like parents, students, or even those with health issues. Almost anyone with a phone and internet can now find gig work, opening up new income for millions struggling in traditional jobs. On the flip side, it also means that tons of people are competing for gigs, often slashing their rates just to win projects. Kind of a race to the bottom. Still, the freedom and access keeps attracting people. But has the gig economy been good or bad for workers? Well, the impact is mixed. A major challenge is missing traditional benefits. Gig workers are usually independent contractors, so they have to pay for their own healthcare and retirement without help from an employer or access to things like paid leave. This can be really risky if gig work is your only income. Also, gig work is unstable. Income goes up and down a lot depending on demand. This unpredictability can make money planning hard, contrasting with the security and predictability jobs used to offer in the past. Some argue that hiring gig workers instead of full-time staff has decreased wages and led to lower job quality overall as businesses cut costs. This shift puts downward pressure on pay and conditions in many industries. Through all of this, the gig economy keeps expanding, driven by workers wanting more freedom over their schedule and companies wanting a flexible workforce they can scale up or down more quickly. But its growth has also sparked debates over whether we need new rules and regulations to better protect gig workers. So in many ways, gig work represents a trade-off, offering accessibility and flexibility in exchange for less stability and fewer worker protections. As it replaces more traditional jobs, we're prompted to rethink what employment looks like in this rapidly changing 21st century job market. If you look at it from a business perspective, you'll see that flexibility is mutual. Switching from typical 9 to 5 jobs to short-term gig work has been strategic for many companies. It lets them cut costs by avoiding expenses like health benefits and retirement plans for full-time staff. Instead, they can pay freelancers for specific projects only when they need them. Looking beyond the surface, this gives businesses way more flexibility in their workforce too, not just workers. I mean, these businesses can now easily scale up by hiring more gig workers during busy times, then scale down when things are slower without the legal headache of laying people off. This agility helps them adapt quicker to change and stay competitive. Staffing agencies have played a huge role in this shift by connecting companies to large pools of available gig workers. They've adapted to the trend with online vetting and databases of workers with different skill sets ready for short temporary gigs. This ensures businesses can quickly find people who are a good fit for contracts. The agencies also reduce company risk by handling all the complex legal and compliance stuff around hiring contractors. This evolving relationship supported by agencies shows a view of workers as independent pros rather than just long-term employees. It allows companies to tap specialized skills on demand, improving their flexibility and ability to innovate. However, the rise of gig work hasn't been great for everyone. Average workers in middle-tier roles who find it hard to transition to gig life now face less job security and benefits. The strain of cobbling together a living from contracts takes substantial financial and emotional tolls. According to a survey by the Economic Policy Institute, about 1 in 7 gig workers earn less than the federal minimum wage. But beyond that, in sectors shifting to cheaper freelance labor, demand for permanent positions also drops, potentially lowering wages and career growth opportunities over time. In response, there's been a big push to regulate gig work and protect contractors better. Laws like California's AB 5 seek to make gig workers actual employees entitled to normal job benefits. But companies strongly resist these efforts, arguing that it would kill the flexibility that makes gig work appealing in the first place. And to a considerable extent, they aren't entirely wrong. So companies will likely find creative ways to keep the gig model while also complying with laws around worker protection. This could include providing some benefits to gig workers or using tech to make the contractor platforms more safe and transparent. Aside from 9-to-5 and gig jobs, there are other practical setups out there. Across different industries, companies are trying out and embracing alternative structures like hybrid and fractional employment. Working remotely, boosted by the pandemic, remains popular, enabling people to avoid commutes and better balance their jobs and personal lives. Reducing workdays are catching on too. This lets staff work hours matching when they're most productive and can handle personal stuff. For example, some companies now do a 4-day work week, which data links to high productivity and happiness. And it's not just office roles making the change. Even manufacturing and healthcare are working in flexible options. This shift is reshaping business. Companies like Google and PwC lead the way by providing remote and flexible work opportunities to attract top talent. These aren't just perks though, they're strategic moves adapting to what workers want now. Work flexibility has become vital for recruitment and retention. A FlexJobs survey found that 81% of people would be more loyal to employers offering it, with 17% willing to take a pay cut to work remotely. This shows the changing priorities, valuing flexibility over traditional benefits. The transition from 9-to-5 has created winners and losers. Freelancers and contractors thriving on freedom are clear winners, as are companies leveraging these models to cut costs and be more agile. However, workers relying on full-time job stability and benefits can struggle in this more unpredictable market. Industry leaders emphasize adapting. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says, "The future of work will be defined by more flexibility, more hybrid work, more multidisciplinary learning, and more empathy." This highlights embracing new structures while keeping the human element. As we wrap up, it's clear that work is transforming fundamentally. Whether you enjoy freelance flexibility, use agile staffing to stay competitive, or navigate uncertainty as an employee, the future is all about adaptability. The iconic 9-to-5 provided structure and stability for generations, but as technology and culture evolve, so too must our concept of work. We've now come to the end of this video. Thank you for joining us. Now, go ahead and explore our other videos in the Declassified channel. As always, thanks for being a part of this conversation, and until next time, goodbye.